Recording in progress.
You know what? I did not know what that was, but I took that straight from YouTube. Because I assumed that's what it was. What did I do? I don't know. That's, that little county's RSVP, is that right? Is that what it's called? RSVP is Retired Volunteers Senior. Yeah, retired senior volunteer, or before that, the paper was in Nevada Rural Counties. RSVP. Oh. No. I got that out of the paper. Not out of my paper. I mean, not out of the paper. No, not out of mine. I don't know who wrote it. It's that guy downtown. Okay. It is part of. That's what I get for being. I still come.
I just had the question. I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna learn something together. No, so this is what you're gonna say. This is live on your Facebook page for the rest of the. No, if I had you, I can't because I can't get down. You'd be shocked. I think shoot me your face.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to start this meeting. Would you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a roll call, please?
Mayor Rao,
Here.
Councilman Rao,
Present.
Councilman Hunter,
Here.
Councilman LaVerie,
Here.
Councilman Fitzsimons.
Here. We in compliance with the open meeting law.
Yes.
Public comment. Do we have any public comment related to anything that's on the agenda tonight?
I will, Franklin's gonna bring it out right now, but you should have, if you don't receive them by email and you would like to, let me know and I can put you on the list, because I email them out before the meetings with all the support material that is coming off the printer. But I email that out before the meeting as well, so.
I got
I can.
comment / question to the agenda. Reading through this thing and whatnot, and I'm sure it probably is, but is this like countywide, or is this just them tacking a charge onto us? Because
Yeah, so that fee is something that goes, the PPAR fee, and we'll talk about this when we get there too, but that's something that they apply to all of their customers.
Okay,
one other comment. I mean, would it still be in best interest to maybe go look for a different power company? I mean, I know Lincoln County Power and whatnot, but they're not Caliente Power, and maybe we
Can't
can
hear
buy
you.
our own power.
So the,
Joe, will you talk into your microphone a little closer?
Yeah, is it in our best interest to like maybe go research or search out a different power company
Grant
besides Lincoln County Power?
Grant and I had a meeting about that. We talked with,
I can tell you right now that we won't find a better deal than we have with Lincoln County Power. Our rates after buying it from Lincoln County Power are at the national average. And if we go try and find other power and we find it cheaper, it may be, they may give it to us cheaper at certain times, but then there will be peak fees and all this other stuff that they will charge on there that in the long run will hurt us more than help us. Lincoln County Power has
the
a
discussion on this will be
Oh,
on
I
our,
apologize.
on our agenda, so let's, this is just for comment.
Do you want us to make a comment on that before we hear what's going on, or?
so I think we're probably, if there's a public comment related to anything on the agenda, you can make public comment. And then we will certainly be addressing the item during that part of the meeting,
Yep.
and we will have that discussion. So,
So, Eve,
we pull that microphone over to you. Sorry, thanks, Eve.
yeah, Eve Whittle. Has anything come of the discussion with the county about the county picking up Caliente as additional customers and supplying us with the same rate that the county is getting, which is, as I understand, 8 cents a kilowatt hour as opposed to reselling to us for 12 cents? Has any discussion happened with the county about that?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Awesome.
We had a meeting with them. We'll probably address that too during our agenda item, but we did talk to them about it.
Okay.
Any other public comment? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Move for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve or deny
Nevada Bank and Trust request to close McKinley Street between Dixon Street and Lincoln Street in front of the elementary school for the Holidays to Remember event, November, 11th and 12th?
Yeah.
I get somebody wants to comment on that?
Yep. Yep, right up here. Speak right to that microphone. You don't have to sit, but you can
Okay.
speak in the microphone.
My name is September Barnes. I'm with Nevada Bank and Trust, and we're putting on an event. It's called Holidays to Remember. A few years ago, we did December to Remember, the first weekend of December, and all the proceeds, we actually went and we came and donated the money to the depot restoration. We presented a check in January of 2020. This year, we did Holidays to Remember, kind of getting it before Thanksgiving. And we're just providing the service for anyone, any local vendors. People are traveling even from Ely, different things like that. And there'll be over 40 vendors at our event. The bank is not making any money off of this. It's just something we want to do for these people to come in and sell stuff that a craft that they've learned, something like that. And so what I want to do is mimic what you guys already approved for the vendor village for Memorial Day. Close down that street. We have food vendors. There's kids gonna be running back and forth to the park, back and forth. Let's just close that down. It's gonna be amazing. And we're super excited. Every vendor coming in is gonna be free vendor spot. You don't have that anywhere. Everywhere, even in our local vendors, they pay for something, and we're having it free. We're selling raffle tickets. All those proceeds are going up with an event. Something that we're doing is a bundle up. It's so this is Holidays to Remember. That's what we're doing right here. You'll see flyers all over town. And then what we're doing with all the proceeds, we're doing Hugs in a Blanket drive, and it's wrapping our senior citizens in blankets, and we're going to deliver them anonymously from maybe someone lost their spouse this year. The loneliest time of the year is around Christmas time for our elderly. We're gonna put blankets all wrapped up, really nice blankets for all of the hospital, all of those, the ones that are there long-term. Yes, people go and see them maybe on Christmas and stuff, but what better is a cozy blanket to wrap them in. So that's what we decided this year. Like I said, last time we did the depot debt restoration, we just presented a couple $1,000, but this one I wanted to just impact our community and with our seniors. And so that's our passion, that's our drive. We're out in the community, and I just want to get your permission, or you guys to vote on for us to shut that down just for the safety and wellness of our children. There you go.
Now, will you be needing the city and Grant and his crew to put up the barricades and the cones and things to block that off the day before, the night before?
I have no expertise in that, so
Okay.
that would be great. It's 11th and 12th, so if we set it up the night before, it is Veterans Day. All my crew's doing it, and we're off. The bank's closed. This is just us giving back to the community, and so that's maybe something that you guys can engage as seeing important. It's going to cover our seniors. It's going to be something great for our locals. Most of them are locals that are selling stuff in there, and so you guys might, I don't know, you guys might be off that day because it is a federal holiday. Maybe you guys can give back just a little bit, setting it up and maybe taking it down for us. But it is a 2-day event, and we should have power figured out. There's a lot of people coming with generators, the food trucks, like we have the taco truck and some other ones coming. We have like some crazy nuts or something like that. I don't know, like almonds and different things like that. So I don't think we need power. There's some stuff we're plugging into the city or to the Caliani Elementary School. But if we do, I'll reach out. We'll know more next week. Some of the vendors are hesitant because they saw our snow that we got last night. So hopefully it's great weather next weekend. But hopefully we have everything else taken care of. If you guys could just shut it down, pick up, take down, we'll clean up our messes and stuff like that. But
September, I know it's on your flyer probably, but what times on Friday and Saturday, are they different or are they the same?
yeah, they're different. So the 11th, which is a Friday, November 11th, Veterans Day, we collaborated with 2 different things. Our veterans, that is Veterans Day. So we didn't want to interfere with the stuff going at the VFW, or if people are already around town, it's right down the street. So we have that 2 to 6. People are gonna set up in the morning. And on November 12th, we have an 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Some people are gonna do both days, some people are only one day. But the Gingerbread Fun Run is doing it on that Saturday too. So that's at the elementary school. That's just gonna drive more traffic right there. So we're gonna have a lot of kids running around. And we should be able to see people, like cars coming, but I have little tiny kids and I want to worry about their safety and stuff too. So I just want to have a fun event. So it is different times, 2 to 6 on the 11th and 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the 12th.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, that's, I mean, I figured the veterans would have something that day and just, so
Yeah.
you guys already thought of everything, it sounds like.
Yeah,
so.
we, the Gingerbread Fun Run was waiting for us to pick the date and then they were going to do it around the same time. So then we could all work together. So anyone else have any questions?
That won't affect any of the residents to get to their residence, will it? Closing that there in front of the school.
It's nothing different than what we do for Memorial Day. Memorial Day, they shut down just that little tiny street. It may be an inconvenience for, they could just ride around the park, but also they need to be looking because there's gonna be a lot of kids running around anyway. So the Gingerbread Fun Run, they have like 100 people signed up for that. So, so it shouldn't affect anything, and it's nothing that we haven't done in a lot of years past. So, anyone else have any questions?
A statement that we appreciate what Nevada Bank and Trust does, and especially you, September. I know you put a lot of time into doing these different events throughout the year.
Thanks.
And we really appreciate you doing that. And so with that, I make a motion that we approve the closing of McKinley Street between Dixon and Lincoln Street.
I'll second it. And again, we do thank you for servicing
We love our
our
community.
community.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Nevada Bank and Trust request to close McKinley Street. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, approve or deny electric rate increase due to the Lincoln County Power District increase to the city.
So I'll start this one and then we can take it wherever you want. So we knew this was coming for a while. I've been mentioning it in the meetings, in my reports, and just making sure everybody is aware. Lincoln County Power let us know that the rate increase was going to be coming due to a lot of factors that have gone on. What they're doing in their last letter that is included in this packet, they discuss what the PPAR, which is the Purchase Power Adjustment Rate that has been in our contract and the way they've done their billing for a lot of years now. They utilize that to adjust for costs on the fly that aren't, that fluctuate year to year, and they evaluate that on an annual basis. And so what we did last year, when they did their rate increases, they did them to the standard per kilowatt hour charge and wiped the PPAR down to 0, so it wasn't showing up on our bill for the last 12 months. But prior to that, it had increased or changed, fluctuated every year. So what they're doing now is saying, okay, it's been a year, we've had to reevaluate with some of the circumstances that have gone on with power and their ability to acquire power, the cost to them has gone up, and therefore they wrote their letter explaining what that's gonna look like. So I got this on the agenda, as we had discussed at last meeting. I told you it would be on the agenda, and I don't necessarily intend for us to vote unless you guys decide to vote on it today, on what that rate will be, because I have some conflicting information that I want to clarify before we actually determine exactly what the rate has to be to cover the cost to the city. But as you see in the letter, in the second to last paragraph, Dave Luttrell says, the mechanism by which we cover these costs is the purchase power adjustment rate. And then further down below, he explains what the expected increase will be. He says, for a small home that uses 500 kilowatt hours in a month, it is expected to increase the bill by $4.75. For a mid-sized home, 1,500 kilowatt hours, $14.24, and for a larger home, 3,000 kilowatt hours or more, they expect around $28. That does not jive with the email that I received from Lincoln County Power this last week, when I specifically reached out to try to get a solid figure that's gonna be showing up on our coming utility bill. It seemed like it was going to be significantly less than that, which I'm hoping is the case. It looked like that would be somewhere around $1,000 a month to the city of an increase. Therefore, the cost to our citizens would probably be significantly less than what they put in this letter. So I just wanted that information out and publicly in the meeting before any decision was made. I can't give you an exact rate, therefore I wouldn't expect a vote on what that's gonna be. But I will come up with something more specific for our next meeting once I have time to digest some of that information.
And I think I can speak for most of the councilmen, we saw that. We talked to Craig kind of individually throughout the week, and Craig's really been working hard trying to crunch these numbers because, I mean, this letter, I remember when it came out on October 1st. Seems like a while ago, but it was doom and gloom. I mean, if you read it, and then I think when Dane came, or one of Mr. Luttrell's last meetings, it was all doom and gloom as well. So we figured this was coming our way, but I appreciate you, Craig, and working out the numbers, because according to them, as of recent, that's the number I'd heard was $1,000. And spreading that $1,000 citywide would be substantially lower than what the letter says. So, until we can all get on the same page with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I figure if we roughly estimate 500 homes, we'd be looking at, somewhere closer to $2 per home. But it really has nothing to do with the number of homes. It's more about consumption. But that's just kind of a really rough ballpark number to throw out. But I want to lock that down before I suggest a rate that I believe would cover the city's cost before you ever voted on it.
I'd also like to know a little bit more about what Eve Whittle was asking questions about, what discussions have happened there in that.
So Grant and I had a meeting with Dave Luttrell and Dane Bradfield a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. It's been a while. And that was something that we brought up was, why are we doing this? Why is the city running its own? Why don't we have the county take over the power and provide it at the ideally, we would like it at the rate that they are currently sending it out to their customers at? Well, that is something that Lincoln County Power is potentially interested in doing. Correct? I mean, Grant, if I say something out of line, let me know. That is something that they are interested in doing. We have a current contract with them that goes through 2027, 28. I think it was a 10-year.
10 years, I came here in 19, it's gotta go to 30.
Yeah, it's 2030, that's when it was.
2030, okay.
29, it might have.
2030, that's what it was.
I knew it was towards the end of the 20s, so 2029 maybe. My feeling is if it worked for them, they would probably be willing to take that on before the end of that contract, but I think they know there's logistical issues that they would have to be able to have the time to remedy before that ever kind of came to fruition. So I believe it's a possibility to have the county take over power. My concern with that is making sure that we understand what that's going to do to other costs in the city if we eliminate the power cost, because what I'm afraid could happen is we would find out that a lot of costs that were believed to be power related are something that won't go away even if we don't run the power. And therefore garbage and sewer and water would have to go up to a point that even if we save money by having Lincoln County Power run the power, we might not see much of a benefit as citizens of the city because our other rates have to go up. So that's a tall task that I am taking on at the moment, to try to break down everything that is hitting the budget and where it's hitting, and making sure that we know exactly what all the costs are that are associated with power, and what we would still maintain if Lincoln County Power District took over the power.
So PH went through this process where they gave their power over to Lincoln County Power District, and what Craig just said is absolutely right. Their water and sewer rates did go up. I don't know if it went up as much as money as they saved. The town of PH. Yeah, they used to run their own power. And after they turned the power over to Lincoln County Power District, their water and sewer rates had to go up to be able to cover all the fixed costs of the rest of the system that power used to help pay for. They still had to have somebody in the billing office. They still had to have a manager that worked in the field and another guy in the field, and those were fixed costs that didn't go away. So it will definitely increase costs. The other thing that me and Craig discussed was in order to get those numbers, we have to be able to input all of the information from pumping our water, how much that costs, because currently we don't bill ourselves for it. We don't build a water fund for the power it uses. And there are a few other things like that it would increase the power rates to. One that worries me is the parks. It doesn't have much of a fund anyways, and so any rate increase we see to the meters at the parks would be difficult for that budget to bear. So we would have to raise rates in other places for sure. I don't know that we would raise them as much as you would save on power. There's a possibility that at the end of the time you could save some money, but it wouldn't be a lot, and I don't know if that would be worth turning over our infrastructure at no cost, because if I remember right, that's what
I think
Dave
PH
said-
gave theirs.
they gave them away. And in that discussion, Dave, if I remember right, he said we wouldn't want to pay for it, but we would take it over.
I think one key thing here to take away, and I know this is gonna sound really ignorant.
You talked.
I know, this mic, I know this is gonna sound really ignorant, but you do that, do you wanna look like PH? Or do you wanna look like this town? Because I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but
We have great parks, that's for sure.
yeah.
Definitely pros and cons to it, no matter what you do. And we as management need to get a better grasp on how deep those pros and cons go, and it's gonna take some time and effort for us to be able to do that.
We charge more than the power district to our residents because, like they said, it pays for all the pumps and stuff at the sewer plant, all of our wells to be pumped, buildings like this, our high-powered lights in the ball fields, all of our street lights. We have to pay for all of that. And we don't bill ourselves for it. So that's why we charge more than the power district.
I guess I always want to point, but I think, Steve, you do need to recognize them if they want to speak during the item, I guess.
My name is Patsy Dye. I live on Lincoln Street. This question is for you. We have been told for years now that this line adder charge is going to be taken off this year. Do we have a date?
I knew somebody was going to ask that, and I meant to find an answer before today, and I don't have one. But I will find that out to you and call you this week.
Well, I don't think any of y'all were
Next week.
there whenever all this came down and y'all started charging us the $9 a month. But everybody else in Lincoln County was getting charged $7 and some change, and y'all wanted $10. And I came in here and showed my butt, and so did a few other people, and y'all decided on $9. But we were still getting charged more than anybody else for a line adder charge on something we don't even get any benefit from.
We certainly get benefit from it.
You what?
We certainly get benefit from it. We get the power off that main line that they rebuilt.
Okay, I was told at that time we didn't.
No, we do get our power off that main line that they rebuilt.
Okay.
That's the reason for that main line rate adder. The other thing I can tell you is I personally pay $9.50 cents in Panaca for it,
Yeah.
and you only pay
But
$9.
no, at the time,
Yeah,
they were only
I
being
can't
charged.
I can't speak to the time. I don't know what happened
No,
there.
at the time that y'all, the council decided on the $9, they wanted 10. And I asked the city clerk at that time how much Panaca was getting charged, and because I already knew the answer, because I have a friend over there, and I asked them what they were getting charged. And they would tell me it was $7 and some change.
Yeah, and it's
But
gone
yet,
up.
Y'all wanted to change, charge us $10. You know, it seems like we always get the low end of the pole here, every time, on whatever rates y'all decide to charge.
Oh,
It's
I know,
getting-
I know.
It's just getting awfully expensive for people on fixed incomes to live here.
Correct me if I'm
Kellyanne-
wrong, but the mainline rate adder is just passed on, correct? I mean, it's billed to us and we are
It,
adding that to the bill?
that's my understanding of it.
Yes.
And they do a count annually of our meters, I believe, so they know how many meters we have that they're charging us that mainline rate adder for, or maybe it's quarterly, I don't know.
I'll follow up on that though, Patsy.
But I can tell you that the county has raised the price several times as they get onto a new phase and they realize prices have gone up, they raise that mainline rate adder. And it's gone up, and since I've been here, we've never raised it to
No, it
match
hasn't
the,
been
in-
raised. It was.
since, yeah, so it's never been raised to match those increases. But you're right, when I started getting it on my bill, it was $7
Yeah.
and some change.
So again, we got the low end.
I thought Dave Luttrell, this is back in like June when he came here, it was October-ish, November-ish, which we're now in November. When he came here back in June of last year, it was supposed to be like right around this
That
time.
it was coming off.
But he couldn't provide an answer either, and that's why,
Yeah.
it's like, is
He
Lincoln
probably
County
just didn't
Power
know
a
at
friend
that
or a
moment.
foe?
He probably just didn't know at that moment while he was sitting here, but I will follow up with him and find out this next week. I'll let you know specifically, but then I can provide that information. Agreed.
That's true.
Okay, we're gonna just use this as a discussion then on this part. Okay. We have any more discussion?
I would suggest that we table this until we find a direct amount from the power district.
That's what
Do
we
you want that in a
yeah, that's what we're
motion,
gonna
or-
do. So we don't
It doesn't need to be a motion because it was for discussion and possible.
Okay, update concerning ongoing grants administration, city clerk's report and city clerk's reports.
All right,
Do 'em both.
I'll do both. So as far as the grants go, the RFQ that we put out for the interior restoration of the depot is going to be extended tomorrow. There were multiple companies that submitted, not bids, but a response to the RFQ. And there was a request for an extension of time so they could get their legal matters in order. And so that's going to be extended to the 25th of November. And then we will have a selection by December 1st for the architecture firm to do that. And then Justin Warren, who's the project manager for Spectra Company, is going to be here, I think, week following next, to kind of walk the site, get a feel for everything, set up a schedule, and say hi to everybody. So he'll be around. I think Linda will have a more specific date when she gets it. But it sounds like we're as close as we've ever been to having an actual start date to the project on the exterior restoration. As far as my report goes, the only thing I really wanted to mention today, and I will have, the financial reports have been lacking from me getting them to the council meetings, but I will provide those at our next meeting so we can get caught up on where we're at. Grant and I'll need to sit down and go over some of that as well. But other than that, just wanted to make sure everybody knew that elections are next Tuesday, 7 to 7, and it's going to be over at the fire station. We're not going to be here again. That's been moved over there because of this lingering restoration project that never seems to start. But we will be at the fire station from 7 to 7 next Tuesday for the elections. So other than that, I'm open to questions.
I got a question. With this depot registration, it was mentioned a month or so ago that we might have to vacate this building and move somewhere else. Is there any news on that?
So, I mean, I'm relying on other experts outside of my knowledge base, but my understanding is yes, because of asbestos removal, we have to leave. And I don't know if we know for sure where we're gonna be yet, but we do have to leave for a period of time. Hopefully it's not very long, but while they do that, I think they have to tent the building and get all of that out, and we are gonna have to be not here, so. That's all I know still.
That'll be something that has to, that'll be something that'll have to be done first before they can do anything else. And so it should be done quickly.
The timeline on it that I've seen is 2 months. So that's my hope, is it'll be a 2-month move. Don't say that out loud.
Thanks, Eve, we appreciate that.
Okay, any other questions for our clerk?
Oh, the DRI thing on your report?
Yes.
They're moving forward with that?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's just gonna be, we had talked about putting it out in the flower bed out here on the far side of the parking lot for exposure to the elements that they weren't getting right here by the depot. And we also talked about moving it to the other end. That was my preference, but they weren't really liking it.
That's a
So,
boxcar, they don't want it.
yeah, so this is gonna, according to them, that's gonna be the best location, so that's where they're planning to, they're gonna pour a new pad. It should, I mean, it should be nice. It'll be nice, in my opinion, to have away from the depot, but still available to citizens and to those that read it. So it's gonna be out on that far end, on the other side of the parking lot.
Okay. Public Works Manager to report.
Gave everybody a copy of the report. The only thing I would like to add to it that I forgot to put on there is in the electric. The power district was here, not last week, but the week before, and they started going to work on street lights, and they had an emergency call out to Rachel, and they haven't been back to finish street lights. I don't know if they got to the one on your street. It's on the list. They know it's there. When they have time, they will get to that one. And then the other big thing I think everybody's aware of is we lost our garbage truck to a fire this week. And I'm working with the insurance companies to see what we can make happen to get us a rental until we can purchase a new truck or do something to get ourselves back in order. Lincoln County has been gracious enough to help us, but it's putting them in a bind with getting their own duties taken care of. So I don't know how long we can place that burden on them, but working with the insurance companies, hopefully we can get something done.
How did it happen?
It was an engine fire, and outside of that, I don't know. They have a cause and origin expert that's going to meet with me tomorrow and look at the truck and see if they can give us any better answers. Yes, sir.
First of all, it was good thinking to send that water tender out when you did. That helped a lot on your part. That was good. And what is the insurance company saying? Our insurance is through the League of Cities.
It's through Pool Pack, and the insurance company is Davies. Right now, they can't give us any concrete answers, but they're going to work with us to give us cash value of the truck, meaning that they have somebody that will come look at the truck, do the inspection, and do an appraisal of what it was when it was working, not the current state it's in. And they will give us that cash value for the truck. And then there is a possibility of them covering a rental for us until we can purchase a new truck, things like that. So that's still all in the works right now with Davies.
Okay, now, with that money that we get from the truck, will we be able to use some COVID money to help pay for this garbage truck?
I hope so. Craig, can you?
So we should be able to, every time there's a request for ARPA funds, I re-dig into that to make sure it qualifies, but I believe we should be able to use that money to do that.
And that's what I would like to see, is the ability to use the insurance claim money and COVID money to buy a new one. The problem is, I'm working with the two main manufacturers of garbage trucks in the country, and they both told me it's 9 months to get a chassis and then build time on top of that for a truck. So, but Davies, I told her that, and she says, well, we'll just have to see what we can do as far as keeping you guys in business until you can get it. So we'll see how that works. I'm assuming, she says that, but I'm assuming there's a limit on that coverage, a dollar amount that they will stop at.
You keep us informed.
I will.
It was on a daily basis if you hear something. so we'll be able to know and answer questions to the people.
Okay, can I,
Not daily, but if you get information, then
okay.
relay it to us.
Can I do that in a chain email? Is that okay? It's
Yeah,
difficult to call everybody and tell the same story 5 times.
right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
The garbage truck? Oh, absolutely. So I didn't hear you. Yes. So as soon as the cause and origin expert looks at it, I will be in touch with Davies to figure out what we do with it. But she asked me not to do anything with it until he looks at it. And we'd already moved it out, at least out of the road to where it is now. I know. So yes, you work out there. Will you let them know we're working on that? It might be next week, but we will get it moved. Okay.
I would like to say too that when this garbage truck caught a fire, they called 911 to the sheriff's department. And instead of the sheriff's department paging the fire department, they pushed the wrong button, and they paged the EMTs. And the
Paged the ambulance.
volunteer fire department was never called on this.
And we would have been there, within 5 minutes, we would have been there.
Just a follow-up on that we were lucky to have is Lincoln County Fire District was doing a controlled burn in the area, and they heard the page go out and they responded. They got there before we did, but they were about out of water when we showed up because they only had 250 gallons. So we got lucky in that sense, but you're right, there was a problem in the whole situation.
Right.
Okay, any questions for Grant?
The power outage on Sunday, you said it in your report, but we're back over on our substation now. Are they still fixing that?
So that is their substation in Antelope Canyon that had the problem. And they were able to just switch power from Antelope Canyon to that new main line that they built through the cove. They turned that power directly to our substation and repowered town. I'm not even sure if they've finished fixing their repairs at Antelope Canyon. We might still be running off that Meadow Valley main line.
I was up Antelope Canyon on the day before that power outage. Me and the person I was with, we were kind of laughing because if there was an incident, I don't even think they could get in there to fix that. And then the next morning, the power went out. And that person's like, well, I hope it ain't in Antelope Canyon. I'm like, I don't know. That road's trashed.
I'm not surprised from
Yeah,
the flooding we
it's
had here.
Neither
Yeah.
here nor there, but yeah, it's kind of coincidental.
I'm just glad they built the redundancy in of that Meadow Valley line, or we might still be out of power.
Yeah. County roads, maybe, county roads or something to fix it.
Okay. Discussion of legal issues. Mr. Katsky.
We're to report tonight. We still haven't heard back from the IRS, so there's nothing there.
Any questions? Okay. Building inspector's report.
You guys, excuse me, you should have a copy of my report. I only want to add a couple of things to it. On Clover Creek Organics, we're going to issue a permit next week for the interior portion of the new drying room building. That's going along pretty well, and that report is, or that permit's going to be in the neighborhood of $9,000 for the interior work. And that'll be the last permit we'll need to issue out there. You can see what I've scheduled or what I've had to talk with them about. We had a meeting out there this morning, and they're anticipating that they will be finished with that by April or May. I think it's probably going to be closer to June, the way things are going. But they're still working on it. Except for today, of course, kind of was messy out there. And I want to add just one of the items, the last item on that sheet is the storage container project. I want to schedule with Franklin, and I wanted to get some revisions made to that ordinance on the containers to make it more usable for everybody concerned. And I will bring that up again, probably, I'd like to be able to say on the first meeting in December, that we'll have it on the agenda. But it depends on Franklin's schedule and mine as well. I'll try to have all my part of it done, and then Franklin and I will go over it and see what we can come up with. But I will say that on the storage containers, we had originally 7 of them on the list that got violation notices. Three of those have been completely removed and are no longer a problem. So, and one of those is wishy-washy, but we have 3 that still need some action of storms on it. But I would like to schedule, and this will come in front of you guys, hopefully on the first part of the first meeting in December. If not, we'll make sure we get it on the second meeting in December. Approve or deny what we come up with on the amendment.
I got a question on Battleborn Meats. Did we not, I thought when we approved that, wasn't there timelines of building? Or we took that back?
Yeah, there's a couple of problems there. A lot of it has to do with back orders of parts on our end regarding that as well. And so the timeline just wasn't feasible after a while.
Gotcha.
Come up.
Right, go ahead. Grant understands more.
So he's paid a deposit for us to purchase parts to put in a manhole and his water system and stuff, and a lot of those parts have been on back order and not been able to get. So the city is buying them and installing them, but he's paying for that for water and sewer.
He's already paid us, what, $10,000 for
Correct.
parts and stuff, so. But it's just been on back order, and haven't been able to get it at this time.
So for default on who?
When we approved it, if there wasn't, we'd have to go back and look at it, but I remember when we approved that, if XX and X wasn't done, then we take, the land comes back to the city of Cali anyhow.
That's not entirely true. What we have is a right of first refusal for the first 2 years if they decide to sell the land.
Yeah.
So, which is different. Initially in the sales contract, there were timelines, but again, we couldn't foresee the fact that sewer parts and water parts would be on back order for a year, right? And so what we have in the deed is a right of first refusal for the first 2 years, which there's no provision that we can take the land back based upon these timelines. And again, these timelines, I've got to look at the contract, but yeah, the fault isn't Mr. Bourne's, right? It's something that he couldn't control regarding that.
Bad deal.
Come up to the mic, please.
Okay, so my question is with the Battleborn, if there is no contract with no time limit for defaulting or the property coming back, if there's no protection in place even if the fates have stepped in with COVID and all of the supply chain issues, so there's no set time limit for the city to be able to take action, can this it just goes to him, and then if with all the work the city's done, all the money that's been put into this place, can this guy then 2, 3, 4, whatever, however many years down the road, take what's probably $150,000 piece of property he got for 22 grand and parcel it and sell it? We
took that part out. I remember taking that part out, but still, it's a bad business deal. I mean, now it's just sitting there vacant. We could probably put it back on the market, but it
Exactly.
sounds like we can't, so
Thank you. Yep, okay.
we lose.
Parcel the land, yeah. We only sold him that one parcel.
Okay, any other questions for the building inspector? Okay. Discussion of issues related to public safety. Don't have a sheriff's department representative or a fire department representative. Discussion of council members' responsibilities, parks and beautification. Mr. Fitzsimons.
All right, got a couple of things here to report. Our next meeting will be the third Tuesday of this month. It'll be November 15th. We put the Nevada Day flags out. We have several traditionalists on our beautification committee, so they put them out on the 31st, which was the true Nevada Day of October 31st, 1864, when Nevada became a state. So if there was any issues on the flags not being out on Friday when the state recognizes Nevada Day, that is why they were up on Monday. So I wanted to make that clear. They'll be out again on November 11th for Veterans Day. We had the Scarecrow campaign. I thought it went okay. We didn't have as much as in previous years. We got the elementary involved. Again, we've had a couple businesses put up scarecrows. Those will be coming down soon to help with our city and parks people. We had some vandalism on some of the scarecrows this year. It's a little disheartening for the committee ladies. Weren't sure who did that. My question is, why would they steal a mask and a wig and not the hay bales? Like, I would think the hay bales are more valuable, but whatever. That did not deter their spirit. We are working with Grant and Craig on the depot lighting. It'll be December 3rd. I believe that's a Saturday. It'll be here, much like last year, all outside. Again, we're not sure about the restoration. We have a backup plan. If everything's shut down, we'll move it more towards maybe the Boxcar Museum, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes. But like September said, her venue or her event won't conflict with this one. And the ladies are really looking forward to this. And look for in your utility bill, if you want to sponsor a sign by one of the trees, as we do every year. And that'll start happening probably in your November bill, I would think. I don't know if Chief's talked to you.
So the bills actually did get put out today. They went to the post office, and that is in the.
Oh, okay, so they did do that. Great, Betsy. Yeah, usually we put a form, we'll put a stack of forms in here with Craig at the city office. So, good question. So, other than that, like I said, we're just gearing up for the holiday season and still doing that kind of stuff, and that's all I got.
Questions for Sean? Okay. Community Development and Planning. Councilman Rao.
Yes, I'm happy to say I haven't had any extra meetings since our last meeting, except the fire department. I've been able to spend most of my time camped out deer hunting. But we got a Lincoln County Regional Development meeting coming up on the 14th here at 4 p.m. here at the depot, and Lincoln County Rural Transportation Committee is meeting here on the 15th at 10 a.m. here in this building. And that's all I've got.
Any questions for Tommy? Okay. Tourism, Boxcar Museum, Mr. Laverie.
No, I don't have anything since the last report I gave, last meeting.
Any questions for Joe? Okay. Public Utilities, Councilman Hunter.
Not anything major to report, but I will just make a statement about especially Grant and Craig, seeing how they have been operating lately. You look at the last year of the public meetings we've had, the amount of answers that we've gotten out of these two and the amount of information that we're getting back from them has definitely improved over this year to let the citizens know a little bit more of what's happening in our city. And even though we're short on numbers in the utilities department, you're seeing that these guys are working hard and they're doing a good job. And so I want to recognize all of the city employees for the hard work they're putting in right now. We're seeing a good increase and it's some improvement, so thank you.
Any questions for Councilman Hunter? Okay. My report, we had a meeting here, yesterday, day before, yesterday, I guess it was, yeah. Met with, Jackie Rolson, and her entourage. They met with, what do they call that group that's putting in,
Sixco, yeah.
Sixco?
Up on the crest
Sixco,
line.
they're putting in or talking about putting in a biomass deal out at Crestline. And looks like they're getting a lot of support on that thing, so that's something that might be in the future coming up, and well, it's out by the landfill. What it would be is they cut cedar trees and make all kinds of stuff out of it.
Process pellets of
They
it.
make jet aviation fuel from it. That's one of the main things it does, makes aviation fuel. They have tons of cosmetic uses for it. It's just a ton of different stuff that they use.
Are they gonna tear them out?
A lot of the cedar trees, yes.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the junipers, which
Yep.
maybe that's cedars. I don't know the difference, but
Yep,
the juniper trees is what they're processing.
yep.
And there's really no.
And
BLM land.
No,
county land.
this is county land that they're working on,
Well, they're starting out.
starting out on
Yeah.
all county land.
And on top of that, they will be bringing it from other locations. They will be bringing product from other locations to process it here.
And they
Well,
have,
Cedar covered mountains have really no value. Nothing grows underneath them for food and so it's a replenish. I mean, if you go up here where they have a big fire and burnt that stuff off, I mean, it's 10 times better than it was before it burned off.
Pinyon and juniper are considered an invasive species that cause lots of problems. Even though they are pretty, they cause lots of problems to the natural ecosystem.
did she mention as well as the University of Nevada, Reno, will have that partnership with them?
Yep, they're talking about putting there'd be a class, they're setting up their plans are a big building up there that would have, the University of Nevada would have a training center there where it would be open to schools from all over the country to come in and use that facility. So I don't know the whole details on the thing, but from what I've seen so far, I come in and I wasn't even part of the meeting, but I come in and sat and listened in on it to see what was going on. Then when that meeting was over with, we went out to the hospital, had a meeting with the hospital staff out there. Their hospital is working to get a new hospital built. And so they're, begging for some money from the government to help do some of that. So they're getting some support that way too. Of course, election year, you get a lot more positive speaking than what actually happens, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. From what? From that biomass thing? Well, they're talking when they get going on the thing, they expect on 500 employees, they said up there. So.
They've been trying to
If
push
they can
this
find
thing for
anybody
10
that
years
wants to
now.
work.
That's,
If they can find anybody that wants to work.
Yeah.
Been trying to push it 10 years now.
And just so you guys know, they have an active workforce. They came over and met with us as well, so it's gonna employ a lot of people, and they are gonna work with us as well.
okay. And I don't know whether this is gonna work or not. There's always a lot of talk about some of this stuff and I'd like to see something happen, but we'll find out how it works.
We should have an update at this Lincoln County Regional Development meeting that they're gonna have here week after next.
So you said that was when?
14th and 15th, 14th.
It is, the regional development is on the 15th at, no, excuse me, the 14th at 4:30. Here.
Here.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Anybody want, ask me any questions? Yes.
Could you come up with that?
You'll have to talk to him on that.
Yikes.
So, I'm just looking at this, the Teamsters Local 14, $4,000. What was that?
That's health insurance.
I'm sorry?
Health insurance for employees.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
That was an easy one. Thank you.
Okay, public comment. Yep.
I just wondered if y'all can possibly, I don't know who parks the dumpsters out there, the big ones, but y'all need to move those a little bit closer to the thing, because I've almost fallen between them a couple of times. So if y'all want to start carrying our big stuff out there, we need help.
There's a bottom radius on that wall that dictates how close we can get it there. I don't know if maybe there were a couple of times you were saying it wasn't as close as normal, but we can't.
Not this much. And plus,
Yeah.
maybe if y'all graded it down to where it didn't have that little bit of slope right there at the edge of it.
I
Because
don't know what you mean.
if you're taking big stuff out there, for somebody like me, you know, it's kind of heavy, you've got to get close enough to throw it in, or otherwise it's not going to go in there, especially if there's a gap. And that slope is getting it's a little scary.
That slope is a concrete,
I know, but there's dirt that goes over the slope.
and pull the dirt off that concrete. Okay.
So
We can look at that.
If there's any loose dirt there, you're going to go in. I mean, I've caught myself a couple of times. It's a little bit scary.
Please don't go in.
I'm going to sue.
It's time to close the transfer station down. We'll be the only ones taking stuff in there.
What do you put in there? Can you take washers and throw them in there, or do you take them out to the burn pile?
No, the only thing that goes out to the burn pile is stuff that's burnable. Branches, wood, things like that. We don't want desks and fridges and washing machines out at the burn pile.
They go into the dump.
Yeah, washing machines can, dryers can, refrigerators and tires are not supposed to, batteries are not supposed to. I believe there's a whole sign there with a list of things. If there's not, I will get another one made and put up.
Well, I was just asked where people would take their washers and dryers and
Washers and dryers to the transfer station in the dumpster.
dumpsters.
Yep.
Okay.
Most stuff you put in there will be gone that night anyway.
Yeah, it'll be, you know, the Kelly Walmart.
You're gonna have to hire a security guard, dude.
Yeah, there's been, we've actually had some problems with dumpster divers, I guess you call them. I don't know what it is, but anyway,
We're working on that.
Working on that.
Yeah, in the background.
Yep. Okay, schedule and date, review and topics for our next meeting.
So November 17th will be the next meeting, 6 o'clock. Did I say 17th? 17th. The only item that I have for sure on there at this very moment, there's two. I've already got one written down. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, and then we'll have more on the power. So the increase, power increase if we have one.
I think we need to put on our next meeting, approve or deny an extension for Josh Jones's lease on the old fire hall. We need to have that on the agenda.
And Craig, can you put this on there? I've met with the Boys and Girls Club from Reno, Nevada, or the state of Nevada, and they're possibly looking at Kelani as a community that they'd want to be interested in, and so I told them that we'd possibly put them on the agenda for next time if they can come give their talk.
Okay, so it's
The Boys and Girls Club
of Reno,
of Reno, yeah.
and the item would be just for the,
Just an informational thing, I guess.
Okay.
Nothing really to decide on, just informational. So they've started out in Reno, they've branched out in Dayton, Winnemucca, Elko, and now Ely. Do several good things in the community, and they just kind of want to, I guess, give some informational out to us. And once they get into a community, they offer childcare, they hire people through workforce, they hire, could be a good thing, could be something, could be nothing, but possible them just to give a presentation. Oh, and on December 3rd, when the lighting is here, it's at 6 PM. I didn't think I mentioned a time, it's at 6.
Okay. Have no more, we've exhausted our agenda, so I'm gonna